Hey, welcome to the Black Knight Nation podcast. I'm your host, Sal Interdonato. The Black Knight Nation podcast is brought to you by Higher Echelon, a company run by Joe Ross, former Army fullback, former Army assistant coach, former Army officer. Check out our Black Knight Nation YouTube channel right now. It's at the highest it's been getting as far as engagement. We have a lot. I just posted a couple interviews from yesterday, one with Larry Pickett Jr., and we'll talk about Larry with his dad, Larry Pickett Sr., in a moment, our guest. And another one with Colin Matson. Interesting story on Colin Matson. He almost like grew up a Kansas State fan. His grandma was a Kansas State fan, and he kind of followed Kansas State, and now he gets a chance to play against Kansas State on the road, again, a Power 4 team. Check that video out. Let's get to our guest now, Larry Pickett Sr. Larry, thanks for this is your first appearance on the podcast.
Yeah.
But last week was your first game being the photographer for Black Knight Nation. We appreciate all the photos and video that you taken. We did a post game field video that I got a lot of comments from, a lot of positive comments from. Appreciate what we did that. And now after Friday night, things changed a little bit for the Pickett family on Saturday, right? I mean,
they did.
I guess you're coming home from a dinner, and maybe you can you kind of walk us through like how everything happened with saving the man from a car fire. You and Larry, and maybe you could just walk us through that.
Okay. Well, as you know, the game was on Friday night this time instead of Saturday, and we came to town. Myself, my wife, our daughters, Lauren and Olivia, and his girlfriend. And so we were there for the game to cheer him on. So excited for him. It was his first time actually on the field. He got the dress 2 times last year, one of those being for Army Navy, which was pretty awesome, but never touched the field. But this game, he actually is on special teams. He's on the kickoff team. And his very first time on the field, he actually makes a tackle. So obviously being there for him, his entire, his family, we're so excited. So it was just a great start to the weekend, getting to hang out with him. He was able to get pass. So we got to hang out for the weekend. So moving to Saturday, we decided to, ask the kids what they wanted to do. And we've been to Times Square in New York, several times since he went to the prep school, and he's now in his, his sophomore year. But we decided to go to Times Square again and hang out. We did some other things during the day. Got some pizza, and the time when it was time to head back, we're headed back, and we saw a power line on the ground and saw the sparks from it, and then looked to the left, followed the power line, and there was actually a vehicle in the tree. The trees had fallen. Obviously, it was probably a higher speed type of crash. And you look over like, wow. But then when you actually focus your eyes on the window, you see that there's a driver in there. And the utility pole was on top of his vehicle, and the electrical current was sparking under his vehicle. So obviously the wire was live. So we literally just, we jumped out. LJ sprang into action as he does. And we see other people had already stopped. It had recently happened. We don't know how recent, but the car was starting to catch on fire. And the other people who were there, obviously they're probably calling 911, but didn't want to approach because of the electrical current, the metal vehicle, the steel, and it could be, I think about it now, thinking about a defibrillator that you may see hanging on the wall somewhere. And if somebody's in an emergency situation and they have to put that on them, and they say clear, because it's designed to start their heart, but it could stop your heart. So I understand the people who were standing by who did not want to help the gentleman because of the obviously the imminent danger. But again, LJ being who he is, we sprang into action. We were able to open the door, and he was still trapped in terms of by his seatbelt. And the airbag had deployed. The smoke is there. You hear the pops from the electrical line under the vehicle. You see the smoke, the fire. And it was just like, we got to get him out of here. So we struggled a little bit at first. And you can see that in the vehicle where we're trying to get the seatbelt off. And credit to my youngest daughter, Lauren. And, everybody who was with us, they were, calling 911. They were cheering us on. Well, my youngest daughter, Lauren, she's 14. She grabbed a camera and she started recording. And that's the moment that, of course, the rescue is what is going viral right now, because you see us yanking him out at that point. By the time she gets her camera, we had already been there for a moment, but by the time she starts recording is when you see us pulling him out. And then it was like the third tug, I think, and then I fell down just trying with the momentum.
Yeah.
And then obviously from there we carried him across the street. And this was before any police or fire, EMS got there. So LJ took care of him on the side of the road. We're talking to him. We're asking him questions, making sure he didn't have any internal bleeding or anything like that. He was obviously, for those who have seen the video, was disoriented. I think maybe he had a concussion. I don't know. But he was, when we got to the vehicle, he was not unconscious, but he was just staring. He was just looking. Obviously, the airbag is big and it started to deflate, but he's just there. And I feel like he maybe have had some type of concussion. He had blood on him. So by the time we got him to the side of the road, we're just, waiting. Lots of people were there calling 911. So we knew help was on the way, but we wanted to keep him awake. And I was more concerned about, if he had any type of, injury because of the blood. We didn't know where the blood was coming from. So obviously the heroes from the fire department and the heroes from, the police department and the EMS, they took over from there to check him out. And so it was definitely an interesting weekend for the Pickett family.
Yeah, I guess you asked a lot of questions about, like you said, like, this is not something that a lot of people would do when there's a down wire and you're seeing, like, the situation that you're in. And listening to Larry Jr. just talk about, how this is what was built into him from the upbringing that he had with you and your wife. And I know you mentioned that there's times where he's done other things like heroic things, but I mean, you have to block everything out when this is going on, right? You're not thinking about fire, down wire, or anything. You just you have one mission, right? Get the guys to safety. That's what. Is that what's kind of going through your mind when this stuff is happening, or?
Well, yeah. As we're running towards him, you hear people saying, "No, don't get close, back up," because they realize that one shot can stop your heart, so like we understood why people were saying no. But again, we couldn't let him burn. And that's, I think the end of he was there, he was awake. He was, we couldn't just stop and watch it, so yes, you're right. I mean, there was a lot that we probably had to block out in that moment. But LJ said some of his military training kicked in. And he's in his, he went to the prep school, and then of course he was there his entire year last year. So he's been through a few trainings and his summer training. So, it's just awesome for a dad to see him in action like that.
Yeah, I don't know. Just making sure we still have you, Larry.
Yeah, can you hear me at all?
Yeah. Just got a little bit of we just got a little bit of a interruption there. Are you good now?
Yeah, I'm good. So I can hear you fine and I can see you fine.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you want me to go ahead?
No, I'm just thinking too about you're not thinking about yourselves there. You're thinking about saving the life. Right. And if you guys don't get him out, it's not really, I don't know if he may, who knows what happens, right? That car fire, what you would say, maybe minutes after you pulled him, the situation gets pretty even more intense.
It was not even that. I mean, pretty much as soon as we got him out, because while we were there with him, you hear the crackling, you hear, you smell it, you see it, the flashes, like the car was already beginning to ignite, I guess is the right word.
Mm.
So I don't know how much longer it would have been, but it went pretty quickly. It
Do
all
you have
happened really
any?
fast.
Do you have any EMT background, or is this for you? This was kind of your first time in this situation. We talk about Larry Jr. about what his West Point training and that kind of stuff kicking in. What was kicking in for you? Would you say?
So no, I don't have any EMT training. And you asked if it's the first time. Unfortunately, not. It's not the first time for me. Ironically, a few months ago, something similar happened. It didn't have the fire aspect of it, but we came upon an overturned vehicle. And again, the same type of situation. We were the first car, and I had to hop out and unbuckle a lady who was dangling upside down from her car, an older lady dangling from her seatbelt. And I had to get in there and climb under, grab her, and I carried her across the street. So not the first time. And no, I don't have any EMT experience.
Is that kind of when you see this, when you're pulling up to this? I mean, you're probably there's no hesitation. I'm guessing after you have been through
No,
something like that before, right?
no. LJ sprang right into action. We ran there. It was absolutely no hesitation because we didn't know how much time he had. And seeing him in there, obviously he was disoriented. Seeing him through his glass, he didn't have window tint or anything like that. So we knew that he wasn't getting out by himself. So there was no hesitation. No, sir.
I mean, I remember you sending me the video clip Sunday morning, and
Mm-hmm.
just the response that it's gotten, and
Yeah.
just I mean everywhere. I see people. I see we see the NBC nightly news. Good Morning
Mm-hmm.
America. We could probably go for 2-3 minutes on how many
Yeah.
news outlets have picked this up. NBC nightly news, ABC, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Um, your son is taking this certainly in stride. You know, I mean, I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's another day at the office, but he's certainly very humble and very
He doesn't like
appreciative.
the attention. He does not like the attention, but he's always been like that. It's funny because for years people have noticed that if you go to even his Twitter, it says managed by his father, managed by me. So when he was in high school, I would be the one. I have a video background. I love photography. I love cameras. I've got a moment of all of my kids' lives. I mean, I'm just that guy. People say, "Oh, you've got a film strip tattooed on you. Why is that?" And I've always told people why. I've been in the video my whole life. If you go to my Facebook profile and you look at the banner, there's a picture of me at like 7 years old holding a camera. So for me, I'm about taking video and pictures, but for LJ, he's the opposite. He doesn't like the attention. So back to the Twitter, and the reason why I've always handled his videos and stuff is because he would be making amazing plays in high school. And shout out to Inlow High School in Raleigh, North Carolina. He did some amazing things there. So I would bring some of my camera gear because I'm a professional videographer, and I would just film him and I would edit together some clips to put out there. And he wouldn't share them. He wasn't like into like people seeing it. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to create you a Twitter then, and I'm going to put it out there for potential coaches to see. And obviously, he was starting to, get playing time in his 10th grade year. And I started, pushing that stuff for him. And God allowed Army to find him through, I don't really know exactly how they found him. It's maybe because he was all state several times. And I think they looked through those lists and, they saw his records and, he's all the things he's done, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year. So I would imagine that's how they eventually found him. But I wanted to make sure that people saw the video. So even back in high school, when it came to him doing something great, like making touchdowns and great tackles and interceptions, he's not the type of person who would push it or share it. And I'm thinking for myself, we got to let people know, because I know you want to play college football. So when it comes to this accident, he does not like the attention. But of course, he's taking it all in stride.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, just the way he's handled himself during this whole thing, and man, I can't imagine what it's like to be, a sophomore in college at West Point as a cadet. You have a lot on your plate to begin with,
He
and
really
he's
does.
coming off your first game college football game that you played,
Yeah.
and the first thing that you think of when you come across something like this is, I'm going to save this guy's life. I got to get this guy out of the car. I got to save this guy's life. I got to me and my dad are going to get this guy out of the car. We're going to get him to safety. And I mean, it's just.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the last thing that was on our mind, obviously. And just to pull up on it and see it. And I just think back again to just, watching him in action as a dad and knowing that West Point has instilled a lot in him. And, like he said, if it was any one of the 4,000 plus cadets at West Point, they all would have done the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the type of people that West Point recruits, the type of people who they accept. It's one of the hardest schools to get in, probably in the world, definitely in the country. One of the lowest acceptance rates. I mean, even down to vetting us as the parents before he was even accepted. So the way that they choose their students, it just goes to show the type of people who are there. So just shout out to West Point and their training in the leadership academy that they are.
Covering this team for so long since 2007, you find out early that's more about the football. It's more about the game and the people that, West Point that play for Army football or that even attend West Point. They all have their unique paths to West Point, and then they also built kind of from there. They built their own unique pass at West Point too, and I always say that, when I'm allowed through the gates of West Point and I cover a football game, it's just an honor. And you see, like you said, LJ said it too, any one of his teammates would have done the same thing. Any one of his cadets that's what's instilled in them. It's instilled in them. Selfless service. Coach Monken says it a lot about the selfless service that they're going to do, once they graduate. And this is, wow. I mean, that's something. And yes, this will be something that I'm sure you, Larry Jr. and your family, certainly remember for a while. But there might be some other times in the future that you might have to be pressed into, some pretty tough situations. And this is to see that to come through like this is something. I want to read real quick. I want to read some of the comments that we got on our X account when we posted the video. I have hurry up and get commissioned, Larry Pickett. The nation needs you. I mean, some of the stuff. Gentleman Soldiers Medal for this cadet, please. Just Good Samaritan stuff. A lot of soldiers medals and that kind of stuff. Like you said, LJ is not really a guy that wants the spotlight, so to speak. But I mean, something, if there's a soldier's medal that could be given to Larry in this situation, and that would be just incredible. It's deserving. And I don't know just what your thoughts on it, but just to hear, this is something that unites not just the people around West Point and the people.
Yeah.
This is something good for the nation itself, Larry. I mean, this is like you can have people that have served. My grandfather served in the Army. My dad served in the Air Force. I didn't recognize the amount of pride I probably should have had back then for what they did for our country. But now you see something like this that's in the news that people can. You can relate. This is relatable stuff, and this is it's bigger than football. I think it's bigger than Army and the armed forces too, in my opinion.
You're right, and it's funny because on my Facebook page, the week before I was there for the scrimmage, and it was the start of branch week coming up on that Monday, and we were leaving out on Sunday. We live in North Carolina, but we go back and forth to support him, and so I was about to go back to North Carolina. And I saw how they were getting prepped for branch week. So they had already put the vehicles out there. And it was the same day as the ring ceremony. So there was a lot of people out there. So on my Facebook, you can see me just going through and showing video of all the vehicles and how awesome of a place West Point is. And just, how they're going to be commissioned as second lieutenants, and they're going to be able to lead the country. And so like all of that for us has always been, so when you said bigger than football, that's what it's always been about for us. And then I think 2 weeks prior for the first scrimmage, when we came up, we're sitting in the car waiting for him to come out his barracks, and you see some soldiers marching by, and I grabbed my phone and I started recording this, and I think I wrote something like that in my caption, like, this is what it's all about. Like, I love when we come to West Point to be able to experience this. So you may know from LJ's story, he's always wanted to be in the Army ever since he was a little boy. If you go back to our 2015 trip to Disney World on Facebook and look at the pictures, every other kid has on Frozen and Mickey Mouse ears and everything like that. He's got on fatigues. He's got on his Army hat, and Halloween he's dressing up as it doesn't matter. Christmas he has on fatigues. This kid has always wanted to be in the Army. So it is way bigger than football for the Pickett family, and we're just so excited for him that he's at West Point.
Yeah, I think it's like for people that don't know Larry's recruiting story, he was originally committed to Navy, right? So, correct. I mean, the way that how coaches found Larry's video or started recruiting him, I think it was maybe I'm just putting it was maybe a no-brainer, for him once Army started showing interest. Is that kind of what happened during that process?
Yeah, so he was definitely he was recruited by lots of schools. NC State, Duke, Wake Forest, ECU, Wofford, North Carolina A&T, a bunch of them. And there's videos of all of those on his website, LarryPickettJr.com. Because again, I'm a filmmaker, so Dad's always going to make sure that I record, these things. And my thing with that, with all my kids, is I want them to show that stuff to their grandkids one day. And I didn't have that coming up. We didn't have cell phone cameras and things like that. So all of those visits with all of those coaches, all those recruiting trips, they're all on his website. But
we lost Larry for a second here. I don't know if a timer went on, but guys, while we wait to get Larry back, if you want to check out, if you haven't checked out the video of Larry
Here
Jr.
we go.
and Larry Sr.
So we had a technical difficulty, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, that was no, it's all good. I don't know if it was a timer thing or whatever, but it's all good.
So, yeah, I can hear you the whole time. I heard you talking about check out the video if they hadn't seen it. You just couldn't hear or see me. But back to the recruiting. So he was recruited by a bunch of schools, and when he got offered by Army, he flipped his commitment to Navy. He had originally, of course, like you mentioned, committed there, but Army is the place. It was the place, and it had always been in his heart. And God worked it out for us to be at West Point, and that is the biggest, one of the things we're most grateful for. And Sergeant Peterson, Major Peterson.
Zach Peterson. Yeah.
Yes. I give him credit. I thank him for helping us through the process. And so LJ's there.
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes we look at the transfer portal stuff and we say that like Army can lose guys, but they can't gain guys in. Well, they recruit people that want to be there, and I think Larry's the perfect example of that he's somebody that had always Army in mind. There are high school football players and young men that want to serve. There are, and they want to play football at the highest level. And here's an example of it where he could have probably gone somebody else, even other than Navy, but he wants to serve his country. And now in the situation that he's in, where he's now contributing on the field and contributing off the field. And to be honest with you, Larry, this is a great, maybe publicity is the wrong word, but the Army is, you see the Secretary of the Army replying and saying, what a great job it was. You're seeing West Point acknowledge it. You're seeing a lot of politicians or representatives acknowledging this. I had a couple follow our Black Knight Nation account. I'm like, this representative from Missouri, whatever, Midwest somewhere following us now. it's great publicity for the Army. It's great publicity for West Point too, and their recruiting and who they're bringing in and what type of people they're bringing in. So I mean, all around, I mean, it's just it's still like to think about this happened on Saturday and we're still talking about it and people are still talking about it and they should be talking about it. This is a story that should get the national attention that it's gotten from all from the sports side, from the news side, and it's just something that's it's great to see. It's deserving, but I mean, I think it talks about the people that you and Larry are, and man, I'm just to be a little selfish, Larry. To be honest with you, I'm glad you're part of our team. I'm glad you're a part of our team. We could talk about what you're going to bring to Black Knight Nation, but I'm happy that I went to the one scrimmage at our maybe second scrimmage of Army that this preseason, and we talked and we met, and I'm really happy to starting to get to know you. Starting to get to know.
And same here. And as I mentioned, like I'm a photographer, so I was out there shooting, just getting pictures, and we had a conversation about teaming up. And so I'm happy to be the official photographer for Black Knight Nation this year. And I'll be getting on the plane on Friday to K-State. I'll be getting some really good pictures from that game as well.
Yeah, tell the people that are watching right now where they can find your work and how maybe they can help out with that.
Sure. So you'll be able to go to my website, which is dtsproductionagency.com, and you'll be able to find the photos from all the games this entire season. So I'm working on the page right now, so that way, because right now you see all my other work, portfolio, lots of other companies I work for, and different things like that. But I'm adding a part for the photography for Army football, so all the parents will be able to go in there and see their kids, because obviously, it can be a long game, and I took over, I think, what I tell you, 2,600 photos from the Tarleton State game. So I want to be able to have those pictures so these parents can see them. And of course, the players may be interested. They have team photographers for the players, but the parents, and of course for Black Knight Nation, so that way we can have some really good photos of the players.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible the work that you've done already with us, and I think that we can only take it to the next level. And it's really I can't tell you how much I'm excited to work with you and just what we can do. The fact that you can be at these road games and give us a presence on the road and can give us that kind of sideline view from the sidelines, so to speak, that sometimes I can't get. I mean, sometimes I have to sit in the stands. I don't even get the sideline view, Larry. I have to sit in the stands, in that overtime. So, it's going to be great. It's going to be a different perspective for sure. And I'm sure we're going to be able to tell stories like your son's, like I'm going to write something on Colin Matson, because I think that's pretty interesting that he grew up a Kansas State fan, and he said he circled when he was being recruited by Army. He's recruited. Like, I knew my senior at Army. Yeah, I knew my senior at Army. We were going to play K-State.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and now he's
I heard him say that.
Yeah, he's a senior now, starting, and it's just like there's a lot. There's so many things that with my time that I have available that I might not be able to get, that you may be able to get to, that Seth Middleton may be able to get to. So definitely, I look forward to the partnership. Should be great, and we appreciate you sharing the story. I know you've been busy. I know you've been on a lot of TV spots and TV shows. I know you've been all over the place. What's the one that maybe kind of you're like, maybe you had when you were done, you had to maybe knock on wood, wake yourself up that, wait, I was just on this show? Or is there one that you did?
No, it wasn't. They're all just, I'm grateful for all of them, and I've been putting the same thing in the reply, like thank you, and then I'll Good Morning America or NBC Nightly News or World News Tonight, or I'm saying thank you for recognizing our favorite soldier. And so they're all, whether they're local, regional, radio, TV, web, doesn't matter. They're all amazing to me, and I'm just grateful at the end of the day that the gentleman is alive and well. That's all that I'm excited about.
That's one thing I want to ask you before we finish here. Have you heard from his family? Did you hear anything from your family, or has he contacted you? With any kind of thanks or?
Yeah, so he one of his church members made a comment and said, thank you so much for saving my friend and church member. So I did a direct message to that person, like, hey, you know him. Can I have his number? I would love to check on him, see if he needs anything. And so she gave him my information, and he texted last night. And so he's not quite ready to talk yet, but he's very, very grateful at what's going on. And he's just taking it all in. And we plan to talk or maybe even meet one day.
That'd be. I'm sure that'd be a wonderful experience, an incredible experience. And again, we can't say enough. We can't say enough about what you and Larry Jr. did Saturday night. It really shows what West Point, what Army football, what this nation's all about. And man, look forward to seeing you soon. And thanks for taking a couple minutes out of your busy schedule this afternoon to join us today, Larry.
That's right. Beat K-State.